Broken up into three different files. One is your recommendation for staff, the community panel, and one is just general. So look at it that way. Thank you. So that may make it easier.
Ready? We'll now call the regular city council meeting Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 to order at 6 p.m. And we would like you to join us in our opening ceremony. The invocation will be led by Pastor Bill Haygood of Tomball United Methodist, and the pledges to the U.S. and Texas flag, none other than the fire guy, Joe Sikora. Please rise.
Let's begin with the word of prayer. Holy God, as we gather to continue the work of planning, building, approving, imagining, confronting, and advocating for the people of our city, we ask you to be with us, to embrace us, to shower us with your presence and your love. Help us to take a moment and focus on you, that all we do in this place tonight will be born out of the love you have shown us. Lord, we come out of a world that is often confusing and angry. We come with values and ideas that are often different from one another. We come with all of our religious, political, and social differences on full display. And we come expecting to accomplish something good for the people of our community. Help us to remember that things don't always have to go our way in our time or according to our will in order to be good. Help us to trust you rather than ourselves so that your work will never be confused with ours. Help us to follow you rather than the opinions and dictates of human will so that we can reflect what you want from us. And help us to put ourselves aside and put forward the needs of those we serve, even as you have done so for us. We thank you tonight for our ability to be here, for our opportunity to share with one another. May we do all we do in love and with joy. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledges to the flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag.
Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, thank you very much. The first item on the agenda is public comments. At this time, we'll have anyone allowed to speak on anything other than personnel matters or matters under litigation for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. No council discussion or action may take place on any matter until it's been posted in accordance with law. Doris, do we have anyone sign up?
I have no one signed up.
All right, and is there anyone wishing to speak that did not sign up? All right, then we will close public comments and we will move directly into presentations. Joe, what do you have for us?
Mayor and council, tonight we have six, well, it's supposed to be 6 individuals, 3 of them right now, who have earned the life-saving ribbon from the Tomball Fire Department. The life-saving ribbon is one that is given directly for being responsible for saving an individual's life. It can be in the form of a rescue or a medical emergency. These individuals were each directly responsible in 2 different CPR incidents in the past couple of months. Particularly this one on June 15th, 2021, the crew of Station 1, Lieutenant Paramedic Stephen McHenry, driver operator EMT Kai Rana, and firefighter EMT Cody Collins responded to a cardiac arrest in the 14,000 block of FM 2920. When they arrived, they found the patient pulseless and active, meaning no pulse, and they weren't breathing. After a few rounds of CPR, in conjunction with Northwest Community Health, the patient regained pulses and was breathing on their own. Gentlemen, Councilman, they've each been awarded the ribbon already before they, but we wanted to present them to you as well.
All right, and let's come around for a picture. Pretend you're holding ribbons. Y'all come up here. And would you please go around and let our council also, thank you. And some of them might be in here. Thank you. This one's hugging you though.
Thank you so much.
Watch out when you get over
Thank you
here.
very much. Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you guys for what you do. All right, and now to reports and announcements. September 10th and 11th, we have a 9/11 anniversary remembrance event at the depot. As you know, on Friday night, we will be shining spotlights into the air representing the towers from 8 p.m. until 4 a.m. At 8:30 in the morning on Saturday, 9/11, we will actually have a short ceremony in memorial. And then we will be doing a free lunch for all first responders and military, hosted by the Rotary Club. They're the ones who came to us with this idea and wanted to do something, so we joined forces with them, and that should be a very good day. And then also Saturday night on 9/11, we will have the spotlights again from 8 until 4. September 18th, we've got Groove Fest 2021 at the depot from 11 to 6. October 8th and 9th is Tomball and Zomball. And everybody knows we've had a lot of changes to that. On October 8th, we're doing the Drive Boo at Juergens Park at dusk, where families stay in their cars to trick or treat. And then on October 9th, we'll have a regular Saturday, second Saturday at the depot with a Halloween movie, face painting, and that kind of thing. October 16th, we've got the Bluegrass Festival from 11 to 6 at the depot. And reports by city staff and members of council about community interest items. We have none listed today. And with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 16th, 2021 special city council TEDC meeting and the August 16th regular meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All right, I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, and then we move on to the old business consent agenda. And all items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of any of these items. If discussion is desired, the item in question will need to be removed from the consent, and we will consider it separately. Information about the consent is available for public view, but I would just, is Kelly here? Okay, if you could just tell us a sentence on each one of what yours are.
Agenda item number 1 under consent agenda is to approve economic development performance agreement between the TEDC and BP Marketing. This is under our rental incentive program, and this is for assistance with their base rent. This is paid after their first full year of completion. The rental incentive amount is not to exceed $6,000. Item number 2 is to approve a economic development performance agreement between the corporation and Jonas Movers. This is for a new office warehouse development that will also function as their storage depot area on Tice Lane. The incentive is based on their eligible infrastructure costs, and the amount is not to exceed $26,925.
All right, thank you. And the third item?
Mayor, this is the second reading on the amendment to the PD for Woodleaf Reserve, Section 1.
All right, thank you. So do I have a motion for the consent of business agenda approval?
Motion. Second.
All right, I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move to new business. And the first item will be the second public hearing for the budget. So it is 6:11 and I'm opening the public hearing for the Tomball's budget fiscal year 21-22. Is there anyone wishing to speak on the budget? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 6:11 and move on to the next item, which is an ordinance. David, would you tell us about this one?
Mayor and Council, this item here is to adopt and first reading the budget that was presented in the prior workshops.
Okay. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to read ordinance number 2021-33 by caption only on first reading.
Motion. Second.
Questions? Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2021-33, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Tomball, Texas, adopting the budget for the City of Tomball, Texas for fiscal year 2021-2022, and authorizing the city manager to approve intra-departmental within the same department only transfers of budgeted funds and amending the budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year in accordance with actual expenditures and providing other details relating to the passage of this ordinance.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2021-33 on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any questions? Call for the vote.
Mayor, I'd just like to thank the staff for all of what they did on our budget. They did a really good job. Presentation in all of our workshops was excellent. Gave us everything we really needed to know. We didn't have to ask for a whole bunch other than to add a couple of things that they didn't think they needed, but we thought they did. So hats off and kudos to Glenn and his group and you and your group as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. With that, the next I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposed tax rate of 0.333339 for $100 for 2021 and set the public hearing on the proposed tax rate for September 20th. Right now, we are just approving that is going to be the tax rate that we vote on later.
Mayor and Council, just to further explain, this rate that's proposed to you or the recommended is the de minimis rate. That is the calculated rate that will generate $500,000 more in revenue than what we collected last year. There is another option. You could go with the no new revenue rate, which would change the rate to a lower rate that we would just get the same rate that we got or the same revenue that we got last year. But it is recommended to approve the de minimis rate.
What will the money
Oh,
go?
we need a motion
Oh,
first.
sorry. Motion.
Second.
Questions?
Yes, ma'am. Just for the public's knowledge, what will the increased income go towards? The general fund?
Yes, sir. Yes, all the ad valorem goes to general fund.
We'll make sure our voters know that.
All right. So we have a motion and a second, and I will call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And item 4, I just need to announce that voting on the 2021 tax rate will be held at regular council meeting on September 20th at 6 p.m. and a special council meeting on September 27th, 2021 at 5:30. And with that, we'll move to the next item. Wes, will you tell us about this ordinance?
Mayor and Council, ordinance 2021-31 abandons a portion of the alley between Magnolia Street, Pine Street, Clayton Street, and Percival Street. And I have an exhibit up here for you in just a second. This right-of-way abandonment request comes from Scott Moore at 404 South Pine Street, just on the south side there. This right of way that's currently in this alley is not needed for street purposes, and if approved, this alley will become the property of Mr. Moore, and a city of Tomball utility easement will take its place in this area. There is an existing wastewater main that does run along this 15-foot alley through here. And staff does recommend it.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to read ordinance number 2021-31 by caption only on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the reading? Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2021-31, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, finding and determining that public convenience and necessity no longer require the continued existence of an unimproved right-of-way between Magnolia Street and Pine Street, all situated in Block 35 of revised map of Tomball, Harris County, Texas, and as recorded in Volume 4, page 25 of the Harris County Map Records, vacating, abandoning, and closing said unimproved right-of-way, authorizing the mayor to execute and the city secretary to attest respectively a quitclaim deed conveying said unimproved right-of-way to Scott Gordon Moore Jr., providing for severability and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2021-31 on first reading.
Motion. Second.
All right, questions or comments? All right, I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. And this next item will be handled by Mayor Pro Tem Lori Klein Quinn, and I have signed the appropriate documents. And the city secretary has them.
Hi, I will be leading item number 6. Mayor abstained from being brought down into the audience. And so Wes, would you please tell us about this item?
The next item is another abandonment. This is 2021-32, and we'll abandon the alley between Chestnut Street, Howard Street, Main Street, and Green Street. The exhibit is kind of what you're looking at here today. The alley is not intended for any street purposes. And the abandonment request does come from Grievous Properties, Kevin and Madonna Edmond, and Henry Alley. If approved, the right-of-way will become the property of the applicants according to the property contiguity to the alley that you're seeing here. And a general utility easement will be established along the 13.5-foot alley that spans across Chestnut to Howard. Staff does recommend approval.
Okay. Continue to motion to read ordinance by caption only. Have a first.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote. I know how to work this machine. That's why I'm not moving. So,
Motion carries unanimously.
okay, Doris? Read caption.
To adopt, oh, no, I have to read it first, but then to adopt. Ordinance number 2021-32, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, finding and determining that public convenience and necessity no longer require the continued existence of an unimproved right-of-way between South Chestnut Street and South Howard Street, all situated in Block 80 of revised map of Tomball, Harris County, Texas, and as recorded in Volume 4, page 25 of the Harris County Map Records. Vacating, abandoning, and closing said unimproved right-of-way, authorizing the mayor to execute and the city secretary to attest respectively a quitclaim deed conveying said unimproved right-of-way to Grievous Properties LLC, Kevin and Madonna Edmond, and Henry Ali, providing for severability and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Now, motion to adopt on first reading.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
So the land, the various owners get a piece? Is that how that works, Wes?
Yes, sir. So the way it works with state law is that any of the adjoining landowners, whichever portion is contiguous with their property today, would retain half of the public property as it is today. I think in the packet, we went ahead and put out, it's essentially a survey, meets and bounds for each portion that would go to each one, so it keeps things clean for record purposes.
So if you go back, if you don't mind, to your diagram. Yep, that one. Can you enlarge it, please? So each one of the property owners there, how many of there might be, would get the portion that's in the red?
Correct. What you're seeing in red here, there's a 13.5 foot that spans from Chestnut over to Howard, and there's a 20 foot that spans across here. We're kind of upside down now, but
We're right now, we're right
spans
there.
from the 13.5 from down to Green Street. And Green Street as it stands today is currently.
Okay. So the only part that I'm having issues with, or not issues with, but want to get a little bit of explanation on, is you see where all the cars are abandoned, it appears there, and then you see the other house on that same track, if you will. There's the red portion through that. Who gets that portion? The people who own the wrecked cars and the people who own the house?
So yes, I assume you're talking about the kind of the wider section between there. So that 20 foot,
Right
10
here.
foot would go over to the east and 10 foot would go to the west. So 10 foot will go to the property owners that have
Gotcha.
the cars there on the east side and 10 foot will go back to the north.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood it correctly.
Any other questions? Okay, let's call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Wes. Mayor, would you return to the diocese?
Man, I'm gonna be worried every minute. And those cars are no longer there. Cool. That's an old photo. Old photo. Okay, next. So what's that, 6? All right, 7. Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you remember about this time last year, we reviewed the investment policy, the Public Funds Investment Act. The state of Texas requires this policy reviewed by council once a year. And it's that time again. We have no changes. There's just one small change in there to the name of one of the approved brokers from FTN to FHN. The only change in there,
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2021-28, resolution of the City of Tomball, Texas, adopting and ratifying the City of Tomball's investment policy as set forth in the city's administrative policy number 13, entitled Investment Policy.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? We'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, and the break.
Okay, this next item is administrative policy number 7, credit card acceptance policy. It goes all the way back to 1998. And since I've been here, we have not been accepting, charging a convenience fee, like most of you are familiar with. You pay your utility bills and things like that. But over the last couple of years, our credit card processing fees have really gone up. We talked about this through the budget. We've done some looking at other policies of other cities and would recommend 3%. Now, we have to only do a revenue neutral, meaning we cannot collect more than what it costs. So start out at 3% and then we'll monitor what we receive on a periodic basis, and we may come back at some time to either lower that fee or possibly increase it.
All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve amendment to administrative policy number 7 entitled credit card acceptance policy.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I do have a question. Some credit cards charge a higher rate than other credit cards. So if somebody has been here and they've been paying their bill, utility bill on a credit card that's charging 2.5% or 2%, and then somebody else has been doing 3%, it seems like the guys that are paying the 2% are getting hit for an extra percentage of convenience fee. In other words, if you take American Express, they're 3%, I believe, pretty much across the board. If you take a MasterCard, they're pretty much 2%, 2.5%. So is it equal that we're charging a convenience fee to each individual in a total amount of the 3%? You understand where I'm coming from?
I do understand what you're talking about, but we have to start somewhere with trying to recover these costs. And what, as far as fairness, we've got people that don't use credit cards that have been paying these costs for the processing.
So that will be reduced on those then, or not?
No.
Some people who are paying by check or cash.
Yeah, they're doing it straight out of their checking or savings
Right.
account. So then there's no fee if you want to. So tomorrow I will be switching over from credit cards
I got
to
you.
where it's going to come out of my checking account.
And I think American Express has gone, some of them have gone 4%.
And that's what I was saying.
And so there's 3% is actually pretty good rate
Mhm.
on those convenience, on the fees that they charge now.
So Mayor, Council, just to elaborate some more, and you're exactly right. We looked at that, all different cards. There's multitude of different cards that are offered now for points for traveling and
Right.
all sorts of stuff. And it's not being provided by the credit card company. It's charging in basis of fees. So when we look at that big span, we've actually talked about not accepting the highest ones to kind of get closer into the ones. But if we try to, what's it called? Curtail to each one, different ones, then it would be a policy that has so many.
Right.
So it's an accounting nightmare to do that. So we'll start with the flat rate, but then look at taking out the outliers or at least the high one.
The high one.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is to collect what funds?
Pardon me?
What are we collecting with this credit card fund?
We're just simply paying for the surcharges that were charged as
Is it
an
water?
entity.
Yes, sir.
City
Your gas and
Anything that you're paying
trash.
with a credit card.
Everything you pay with-
Well, no, I'm asking what the city is, because I'm just saying that when we take a credit card, don't we have guaranteed payment versus checks that bounce or what have you? I mean, is there anything along those lines we need to worry about?
You mean the credit card is not approved?
Well,
Are you saying if I have no money in my checking account and it debits out of my account, then we could not get that payment?
yeah, I'm not worried about it. Just we'll keep track.
I
Just
understand
call me
where you're
before it's my
coming
due
from,
date.
though. It's a very valid point, though,
Mhm.
that you bring up, Councilman Diggs. And that is simply that if somebody's writing us a hot check, they're not being, or do we charge them a fee on top of everything? for a
I'm
hot
sure we
check?
would, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. As long as we're, okay, that's fine.
And also just to kind of put it in perspective, we did what, 180, 200,000 last year in fees that we paid.
Correct.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of what sparked it,
It's gonna exceed
300,
that.
because more and more people are going to credit cards because of the points.
And what we're seeing is the development community is actually paying for the permit fees and impact fees. And so those, once you start applying those percentages to that, there, it's a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are
So
all
this will be for
things,
all credit card
That's what I was-
transactions, period, not just utility bills.
Right,
everything.
everything.
Okay.
Does, Glenn, is there a fee for electronic funds transfers? Usually from the
Yes.
bank. And does this apply to that as well?
Yes.
But on bank drafts, it does not. Correct.
No.
So there's no convenience fee for a bank draft. So if I come in here and I go online and I pay off of my bank account, just a straight
Electronic,
payment, then there is no
Payment.
fee.
No,
There-
will not be on.
there
Right.
would be
That's
payment
good.
on those.
That's
Okay.
fine. I don't want to
Got it.
penalize those people who decide to pay online and
Absolutely.
on time.
All right, so with that, I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Number 9, Doris, will you tell us about this one?
Okay, as we become a more electronic document society, many of the cities are now going to the use of digital or electronic signatures for contracts, agreements, things like that. Basically, this policy, which Lauren has reviewed, just sets out basic standards for city staff to use electronic or digital signatures for the city business.
Do we mail it?
All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve administrative policy number 28 entitled Electronic Digital Signature Policy.
Motion.
Questions?
Yes. Does that mean that we'll be using DocuSign or something similar to that for transactions? And I believe those do hold up in a court of law.
We can use DocuSign. In some cases, we can use, I know in some instances, created a digital signature that has a passcode and
Okay.
everything. And it shows this document was signed on such and such a date by this individual.
And it will hold up in a court of law, correct, Lauren? Okay, that's fine.
That's part of the purpose of this policy.
Is there a charge to us when we send out DocuSigns?
I don't think so.
I haven't seen a charge on anything yet.
Okay. The IRS has started taking DocuSigns, but they're also talking about a charge when you do. So that's why I asked.
Abolish the IRS.
Yeah.
Off topic, sir.
I'm sorry, man.
Sorry, that's not on the agenda.
All right, so with that, I will call for the vote. Or get out the gavel.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, and Doris, will you tell us about number 10?
Okay, number 10 is an administrative policy for our notaries. The city has approximately 25 to 30 notary publics at any time. Mostly City Hall, the police department, especially since it's, police department's 24-hour operation. Court, I think we have one over at Public Works, different places. And basically what this policy does, it just sets out a minimum process, sort of to create a comfort zone for the notaries to know what they can and can't do, what they should and should not look for, just to kind of give them a guideline.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve administrative policy number 29 entitled Notary Public Procedures, Policies, and Prohibitions.
So moved.
Do we get a second?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, didn't hear you. Any questions on this one? All right, I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, and 11.
Yes, this is policy night. The city of Tomball has been approved by the state to retain our records electronically. Most of the records are retained in Laserfish. If they have a 10-plus year retention period, records that have less than 10 years are generally being stored electronically in the originating department. So this policy sets out a minimum standard of how the records will be kept, and it will assist Tracy, who's basically running the records management program. It will assist her in working with the liaisons in each department to determine if the records need to be stored in Laserfish, if they need to be stored in the department, when to basically destroy the records after they've met their retention period. And so this is our first step.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion to approve administrative policy number 30 entitled Records Management Requirements for Electronic Records and Email.
So moved.
Second.
All right, questions? All right, I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And then 12, Beth.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Resolution 2021-29 is a resolution in support of the partnership between the city of Tomball and the Munson family regarding the inclusive playground at Jordan Park. We discussed it last time.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2021-29, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Tomball, Texas, approving the partnership between the City of Tomball and the Munson family.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any questions? I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Beth, you want to tell us about 13?
City staff recommends awarding the contract for EMP project 2019-135 to AR Turnkey Construction in the amount of $133,838 for the contract for mulberry and ag drainage improvements.
All right. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to award the contract for EMP 2019-10035 to AR Turnkey, as just told us by Beth.
So moved.
Second.
All right, questions?
Is this part of last year's budget that was in there, this money?
It's part of the capital improvements.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
And do we have history with the turnkey construction?
We do not, however, we check their references and the engineering firm we're working with on this project has history with them.
This is good.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
And 14.
City staff is requesting the authorization of the city manager to execute portions of an agreement on behalf of the city of Tomball with Musto Finance with Tomball Little League for lights at the Musto Ball Complex.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion to authorize the city manager to execute portions, as we just heard from Beth, with Musco Finance for the Little League improvements at Wayne Stovall Park.
Motion.
Sports
Second.
complex. Motion and a second. Any questions?
Just for the reading.
No, this is to,
No, this is not an ordinance.
yeah, this is,
I have a question.
Okay.
How are we securing, how are we leading the property? With the third party in the middle and
This is a subordination agreement that we're signing to allow the lien to attach to the property. We've also got in the agreement a required notice to us if they default before they come out and take any of the lights, just in case we decide that those were at a point where it would be beneficial to us to finish paying those.
Lauren, can you pull your mic to you?
Sorry, that it would be beneficial to us to finish paying those for those improvements rather than have them removed.
Is that their remedy under the rights of this lease? If they don't get paid, they can take the lights down?
They can, correct.
And, okay, so we'll have a choice. if that-
The financing, the lien is only on the lights. It is not on any of the real property. It is only on the lights. They need our permission to allow them to put a lien on the lights. It doesn't put obviously the park into jeopardy in any way, just the lighting.
Have we looked at that bid and scope, and are we comfortable with it? I mean, it's a couple of $100,000 worth of lights up there that are going to be on our property when the group that's running it now leaves, right?
So we've been working closely with Tomball Little League, and as you know, there was kind of a change in administration with our group, and we went through and kind of looked at the agreement just to make sure that it was up to current terms and so forth. And this group has done a great job at keeping us up to date on their finances and how they're doing. And the Little League group is growing here in Tomball. And so they anticipate paying off this note well within the 5 years. They're actually hoping to have it paid off within 3. So I think that they're doing well on this. And as far as the lights are concerned, there's a lot of companies who are do a lot of work in the baseball field playing arena. And so this is one that is closely associated with Tomball or Little League in general.
Yeah, if you actually watch the Little League World Series on ESPN, they were running commercials as the official lighting provider of Little League. Also, I believe Little League is paying down $80,000 of about the $180,000 cost. So it's a pretty significant down payment.
And the city is participating in, I believe we're contributing about 40 sports lights on the field.
Okay. This just brings so many people here, and it's such a jewel for us back there, you know, that I know we all appreciate the Little League fields back there. I've spent many, many hours out there.
It's better than in the lights where you don't have to be heat of the day.
How were the bleachers? Like,
You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
the
great.
bleachers there was a good improvement there a few years back, with handrails and things like that. It was nice.
All right, let's call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Beth. David,
Mayor and Council, this item here, or this resolution, authorizes staff to enter negotiations with Lovett Industrial to create a potential development agreement for the development of approximately 240 acres located between 249 and, not between, but next to Walker Road. The development will provide for 3.3 million square feet of distribution and light industrial buildings and approximately 30,000 square feet of retail space, and is estimated to employ about 1,300 people. The proposed resolution defines the starting place for the negotiations of the terms and conditions of the development agreement. And I would just note and remind the council that this resolution terms are solely for the purpose of beginning negotiations and are non-binding in nature and creates no obligation on our part. I did include a sample of the resolution earlier in your packet. Lauren reviewed it and he wanted to further clarify, and that was the revision on the ones that you have on your desk. It adds section 10, which basically says that it's non-binding, any of the terms here.
That's on either party?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
so all we're doing is just approving for negotiations to start. So I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2021-30, resolution of the City Council of the City of Tomball, Texas, authorizing the city manager to enter into negotiations between the City of Tomball and Lovett Industrial.
So moved.
All right, any questions? Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Now, at this time, the city council meeting executive session is authorized by Title V, Chapter 551 Government Code, Texas Open Meetings Act, for the following purposes. Section 551.071, consultation with city attorney regarding a matter which the attorney's duty requires be discussed in closed session. Section 551.074, personnel matters, deliberation of the appointment, employment, and duties of public officer or employee, assistant city manager, fire chief, community development director, and section 551, deliberations regarding economic development. It is 6:47 and we're going into executive session. And there are no items on the agenda following executive session. Oh, okay. All right, so it is 7:44 and we are out of executive session. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote? Is it still on? Aye. Oh, okay. Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Can I turn this off?
Yep.
Remember to take your phone off, do not disturb.
Yeah, take my phone off. Thank you much.
Limits to serve on P and Z board?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all know Diana Lewis Brown, and she lives with her mother in the city limits because her dad died. They have all the property, a lot of the property at Husband Carville and 2920. So,
Yeah, you have to live in the city limits for everything except the top board. You can be a business owner
split up 3 sets of
and
questions.
serve, or a hotel person and serve. But if you're a resident, you can serve on one of 3 positions. The other 3
So
are
those 3.
business owner or
About 85% of them, the exact same question.
They are, she
Hotel
just
person.
divided them up,
so she,
basically what you're doing.
yeah, she
So the
lives in the
master
city
list, she
now,
divided,
for the
this
last
is
year,
recommended for
but she
community
still
town,
has
this
her
one's for
personal
the-
residence outside of the city.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
She
mean,
takes
she's-
care of them.
Yeah, she could only serve if she stays inside the city.
Pulls out the
Yeah,
3
she
different
can
documents and.
Get rid of her
Yeah, so that way we
personal
can give them
residence,
to
or get
each
rid of
Rent it
her.
out.
Rent it out.
You know,
Some-
okay.
She has to live in the city
Your, get to know.
while she is on.
Okay.
It's kind of like council, it's like when Rick Brown moved outside the city, he immediately resigned. It was an automatic resignation.
My preference would be to definitely use those if we have.
Yeah.
This is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was surprised Okay, I'll tell her.
Yeah.
Interested in P&Z.
And the application is on the website.
But she would be a good one. She's been involved in real estate. And she's a really here, but she's still other homes.
So do you have to use your turn signal when you're leaving the parking lot?
Thank
When you're pulling out of a parking lot?
Thank you. Private parking lot to a public.
Well, oh, I guess it's.
Private parking lot to a public street, and you're indicating onto a public road, yes.
Okay.
I mean, take it for. Yeah.
Well, I just, yeah, some friends. And so the last thing we said, Officer Hartley. And he's kind of pretty snippy with a couple people, but, yeah. Anyway, well, anyway.
Yeah. That's good. Come on, well, praying for him.
He pulled her over because she just was trying to. She was thinking for herself. Only vehicle that he- And it's me, yeah, and so that's, it's always a joke now.
But no particular.
No, it's good, but he was her husband passed. That's what she's driving.
All right.
So, yeah, so, yeah, you kept, where you going?